A meteorite tears across the night sky above Arborville, California. It streaks down through the clouds and slams into the woods on the edge of town. The impact shakes the ground. Trees shudder, birds scatter. A homeless man watches the impact. He gets up and wanders toward the crash site. He finds a large, steaming rock with a crack running along its surface. Inside the crack, something glistens, something moves. The man grabs a stick and pokes at the substance. The goo lunges forward and latches onto his hand. It is not letting go. He screams. The substance is burning through his skin, dissolving it. He stares at his hand in horror as the creature tightens its grip. Not far away, a teenage boy named Brian is by the roadside fixing his motorcycle. He hears the screaming and goes still. Then the man staggers out of the woods directly in front of him. The man is frantic, incoherent. He raises an axe and swings it toward his own wrist. He would rather lose his hand than keep whatever is on it. But the creature just flows over the wound, covering it completely. There is no escape. A pair of headlights cuts through the dark. The car brakes hard but hits the man anyway, knocking him to the ground. Two teenagers step out, Paul and Meg. They were on a date. This is not how they expected the night to end. Paul takes one look at the man and decides they need to get him to the hospital. Brian warns them both to be careful of the man's hand. Whatever is on it looks dangerous. Paul doesn't trust Brian, so he tells him to ride along. At the hospital, the man is admitted. Paul and Meg fill out paperwork in the waiting area. Brian gets bored and leaves. He has no reason to stay. Paul walks down the hallway to check on the man. The room is quiet. Too quiet. He steps inside and stops. The man's lower body is gone. Dissolved. Paul runs to get a doctor. They come back together. When they return, the room has changed. A red mass clings to the ceiling above them. Paul looks up just as a drop of the substance burns through the desk below. The creature drops. It lands on Paul. Meg hears the noise and runs in. What she sees stops her completely. Paul is being pulled into the creature. She grabs his arm and pulls. The creature pulls harder. Paul is gone. Meg is thrown against the wall, unconscious. By the time the police arrive, the creature has slipped away through the hospital corridors and down into the sewer beneath the building. Sheriff Geller interviews Meg at the station. He doesn't believe a word of it. As far as he is concerned, Brian is probably responsible. Brian gets questioned and released. No evidence, no charge. Meanwhile, on the edge of town, Paul's friend Scott is parked in the woods with a date. Scott steps outside to pour drinks. He gets back in the car. The girl seems to be sleeping. He reaches over to touch her shoulder. Then the creature bursts out from underneath her and attacks. Both of them are gone within seconds, and the creature is bigger now. It is always bigger after it feeds. Brian ends up at the local diner. Meg finds him there and tells him everything. Brian thinks she is exaggerating. Then the drain in the kitchen starts to block. The handyman George goes in to clear it. He pulls a thick, sticky mess out of the sink and holds it up to look at it. Then the drain erupts. The creature shoots out and grabs George by the arm. It hauls him toward the drain inch by inch. Brian and Meg watch from the doorway. Then the creature turns toward them. They sprint for the walk-in freezer and slam the door behind them. The creature follows. It reaches the threshold and stops dead. It presses against the freezing air and recoils. The extreme cold drives it back. They are safe for now. Outside the freezer, the creature goes after the diner's waitress, Fran. She slips out through a window and runs to a nearby phone booth to call the police. She gets through to the dispatcher, who tells her Sheriff Geller is already on his way to the diner. Fran looks up through the glass. Something large is moving toward her. The creature reached the sheriff first. The phone booth collapses. The line goes dead. Brian and Meg go back to the police station. The dispatcher tells them Deputy Briggs was sent out to the meteor landing site. They drive out there. The woods are full of hazmat suits, floodlights, a military helicopter overhead. This is no longer a local investigation. The man in charge is Dr. Meadows. He is calm, professional, and completely in control. He tells Brian and Meg the meteorite carried dangerous bacteria. The entire area must be quarantined. He has Brian and Meg loaded into a military truck headed for town hall. Brian doesn't buy it. He picks the lock and jumps from the truck while it is still moving. Meg stays. She needs to get back to town. Her younger brother Kevin is out there somewhere. When Meg arrives in town, soldiers are gathering residents in the square. She finds her parents. Kevin is not with them. She learns he snuck into the movie theater with his friend Eddie. The soldiers tell her to wait in line. She doesn't wait. Inside the theater, a horror film is playing at full volume. The audience is completely absorbed. Nobody notices what is moving through the walls around them. The projectionist was the first to go, pulled into the ventilation system before anyone realized he was missing. The theater owner went looking for him. He looked up at the wrong moment. Meg pushes through the lobby as the creature surges out of the walls and ceiling and descends on the crowd. People run in every direction. Meg pushes against them, heading the wrong way into danger. She finds Kevin and Eddie near the back exits. They run. The creature is right behind them. Kevin's jacket snags in the closing door. The zipper is stuck. The door shakes and bends as the creature presses from the other side. Bolts pop from the frame. Meg gives one last pull, and the jacket comes free. They run. They hit a dead end in the alley behind the theater. The only way out is down. They pry open a manhole cover and drop into the sewer. As Meg goes over the edge, the creature closes around her hair. It starts to burn. She drops into the dark water below. Back at the crash site, Brian hides in the bushes and overhears Meadows talking to his assistant, Jennings. What they are saying changes everything. It was not a meteorite. It was a satellite. A government satellite. The creature was part of a Cold War biological weapons program. A military virus on board transformed it into something far more dangerous than nature ever intended. Jennings is visibly worried. The creature has grown 1,000 times since it landed. If it keeps growing at this rate, nothing will stop it. Meadows does not care. The people who have died are, in his exact words, necessary losses. Meadows orders the sewer exits sealed to trap the creature underground. He knows Meg, Kevin, and Eddie are still down there. He gives the order anyway. Brian makes a noise in the bushes. They spot him. He jumps on his motorcycle and tears into the woods with soldiers and a helicopter behind him. He loses them near the sewer tunnels. In the sewer below, the water starts to bubble. Meg helps Kevin onto a pipe above the water line. She reaches back for Eddie. The tentacle closes around Eddie and drags him under. Meg dives in after him. She finds nothing. When she surfaces, she looks into the water. The creature has already finished. She and Kevin find a grate above them and start to climb. Meg gets stuck. She's hanging upside down over the dark water when Jennings and his remaining soldiers appear below, creating just enough distraction. Kevin gets to the surface. Meg falls back into the water. She finds a slope and starts to climb. The creature finds her first. Brian drops in from a sewer opening above. He grabs her arm and pulls her up. They ride through the tunnels until the bike breaks down. They abandon it and run. They find Jennings in the tunnel. His soldiers are all gone. He tells them they have to get out immediately. They find a manhole and start climbing. Above ground, Meadows orders the hatch sealed. Jennings sees the water rising below them. The creature is seconds away. Brian grabs Jennings' rocket launcher and blows the manhole cover off its hinges. They climb out into the center of town. Brian faces the crowd and tells them the truth. The satellite, the weapon, the cover-up. Meadows steps forward and tells the crowd Brian is infected. He says Brian wants to spread the creature to settle old scores. The crowd does not know who to believe. It is a standoff. Then the ground tears open. The creature surges out of the sewer and closes around Meadows, hauling him back underground. That ends the debate. The remaining soldiers fire everything they have into the opening. Then, explosives. A massive blast shakes the street. A moment of silence. Then the ground begins to shake again. The creature erupts from the pavement in the heart of town. It is enormous. Nothing like what first touched the homeless man's hand on the edge of the woods. Bullets hit it and do nothing. A flamethrower truck opens its tanks and covers it in fire. The creature moves through the flames. A soldier near Reverend Meeker, the local preacher, catches fire from the burning fuel. Meg grabs a CO2 fire extinguisher from a nearby building and sprays the soldier down. The cold blast catches the creature's edge. It pulls back. She has seen this before, in the freezer at the diner. Cold is the weakness. The survivors retreat into the town hall and barricade the doors. Fire extinguishers keep the creature's tentacles at bay, but it is pressing through every wall on every side. Deputy Briggs holds his position at a window until the creature takes him. Brian makes it to the town's garage and finds a truck fitted with canisters of liquid nitrogen used to make artificial snow. He drives it back to the town hall. He opens the valves and blasts the creature with frozen spray. The outer skin peels away. The creature knocks the truck sideways and flips it. Meg finds a dying soldier nearby and takes the explosive charge from his kit. She understands exactly what she needs to do. She draws the creature away from Brian and toward the nitrogen canisters beside the overturned truck. It follows her. She rigs the charge and turns to run. Her foot catches between two pieces of debris. She's stuck again, dangling upside down with the creature surging toward her. Brian regains consciousness and runs to her. He pulls her free. They clear the canisters. The charge detonates. Liquid nitrogen covers the creature in an instant. The temperature drops to nothing. The creature freezes solid and shatters, collapsing into hundreds of crystallized pieces across the street. It is over. The frozen remains are collected and taken to the town's ice house for storage. The town begins to breathe again. But a few nights later, there is a tent meeting in a field outside town. A small congregation sits in the flickering lamplight. At the front, Reverend Meeker is preaching. His face is still marked by burns. His words are apocalyptic, barely coherent. He sounds like a man who has seen something he cannot come back from. An old woman in the crowd asks him when the end will come. He reaches into his coat. He holds up a small glass jar. Inside, something small and dark turns slowly in the light. A fragment, one of the pieces from the street, still moving. Soon, he says quietly, the Lord will give me a sign. The final shot tells you everything you need to know about where this film stands. The creature isn't gone, it is preserved. And the man holding the jar is not a scientist trying to contain it. He is a true believer who thinks it is a gift. That is a far more unsettling place to leave things than a simple explosion and a credits roll. The Blob, released in 1988, is a remake that improves on its source material in almost every way. It takes the original's simple monster premise and layers in Cold War paranoia, institutional betrayal, and a pair of protagonists the audience actually wants to survive. The practical effects hold up remarkably well, and the film never loses its nerve. If this recap was worth your time, a like on the video goes a long way. And if you want more horror breakdowns like this one, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.